It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the talk. It's time for the Billy C Show. You know, it's amazing what a cold / flu will do to your mind, right? Who is this? What's my name? Anyway, it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching, I hope you're doing okay. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simons Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simons for an authentic Italian meal. Also, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now, where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of this book right now while you're watching or listening to the show. Just visit barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting Tom Molyneux's story told. You'll see what I mean. Just read the book. If you're looking to get a signed copy, just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. It's all over there. And if you're looking to get multiple copies because, you know, you want to give them away or, I don't know, just drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, and I'll hook you up with that. One other thing of note is I would like to tell everyone that we are doing another Billy C get-together. This time it's going to be taking place in St. Simons Island, of course, but in August. And it's going to be a huge event. And I'll get these specific dates for you over the next couple of weeks. But this is going to be a good one. This one, well, not that the other ones aren't, but this one's going to be huge. And the bottom line is it's going to be, 3-4 days of events that we're going to be doing, and you got to be part of it. And if you want to get on the list, because it's going to be an invitation type only, you're going to have some type of reservation to be here. We're going to include package deals, room, food, all of that stuff. There's going to be a fishing tournament. There's going to be a golf tournament. Maybe even have a Sal's pizza eating contest. I don't know, man. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. Celebrities there. It's going to be a fight night. All of that is going to be happening in August. So it's time to make your plans now. So make sure you get to do that. Coming up later in the week, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, we will be doing our Blast from the Past. And this week's Blast from the Past will feature a former world champion and Boxing Hall of Famer, Tommy Hearns. So you're not going to want to miss that. Alex Papali will join us for that. And also Boxing Hall of Famer and my main man, Larry Hazard, will be joining us as well. So you're going to want to be part of that on Wednesday. Don't miss the show. Now, programming note, we will be doing a show all the rest of this week. But next week, boys and girls, we're off. I know it seems like we're taking a lot of time off, but no, this is actually a vacay. The other stuff is things that we do. But this is a vacation. We will be off all next week, but we'll be back the following week. So just a programming note for you there. I want to talk about the fights that took place this past weekend. I got some news about Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker, and I got a whole bunch of emails that I want to get to. All of that's going to start right now. But I think joining me right now on the line, even though he doesn't have his video or mic up, is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. Sal, are you there?
Billy C., I am here.
All right. Well, we don't see you, but we do hear you. So how's things going, my man?
Things are going great, Bill. Things are going really good. And I think my Skype was rebooting, so it should be up in a minute. But, yeah, things are going really good. Hey, I have something really special I want to show everybody if we can get the video up in a little while. It's unbelievable. I have these gentlemen that come in every year. And every year they come in, they bring a little bit of gift. We play a little Monty Hall, let's make a deal thing. And they have a box, and they ask if I want to trade, give them a pizza for the box or whatever. And this year, unbelievable. Wait till you see what they gave me.
Sounds good. All right, let's get the ball rolling here. First and foremost, the first fight I want to talk about that took place this weekend was the World Boxing Super Series. Hey, did it get any better than this? I mean, the World Boxing Super Series has been a blessing for boxing. And, you know, it really bothers me that the U.S. missed the boat here on getting television for this. Every single one of these fights, in case you've been under a rock, you know, the World Boxing Super Series focused on two weight classes, the super middleweight division and the cruiserweight division. And I think the cruiserweight division, which has given us, I mean, actually all the fights have been really good, but the cruiserweight division is a division that I hope really takes off here in the States. It's popular everywhere else, but I mean, what we witness are big guys with a boxing skill. Generally, they all come in shape. And man, this road to the final has been nothing less than spectacular. This past weekend in the semifinal, so now we have the final set in a very entertaining fight for 12 rounds until the end. Murat Gassiev knocked out Junior Dorticos in the 12th and final round to improve to 26-0 with 19 knockouts. Dorticos was undefeated going into the fight. He drops to 21-1 with 20 knockouts. And this fight ended in spectacular fashion. Now Gassiev will move on and take on Usyk for the final. Now the best part of this tournament is that both of these guys going into the final are now unified champions. Gassiev now has a WBA and IBF belt, and Usyk has the WBO and the WBC belt. So, I mean, Sal, could we have gotten a better scenario with this World Boxing Super Series?
Let me tell you, it's like the stars have a line. No, I mean, you're looking at the best right there in that weight division. And how can you clean up and define any way better than through a boxing tournament? And I'll tell you what, my hat's off. It's exciting, and it's great. And now we see the brackets narrowing. There's only two left, and then there will be one. But it was a good fight, entertaining fight, and I use the term ebb and flow. I kind of felt the momentum shift a little bit to Gassiev, but I want to hear your comments because that's, I'll tell you, it was a great fight. I loved watching the fight.
Well, what I loved about the fight is it seemed back and forth, but then I thought Gassiev took control of the fight, and although Dorticos was game, I mean, he was there all the way to the end, but once he got rocked, it was kind of over. That uppercut in the 12th and final round really hurt Dorticos. And, you know, he never really rebounded from that. He was battered. I got to be honest with you. Eddie Claudio, who was the referee in that, what was he thinking? Why did he let I don't even think Dorticos should have been allowed to continue after the second knockdown. Why Claudio let him get blasted through the ropes to end this fight. I mean, I know it was in Russia, but the bottom line is you still, as a referee, should be looking out for the well-being of the fighter. What was your thoughts on that?
I thought he did okay. I thought, you know what, the guy showed hard. He was coming. He was trying to exchange and keep himself up. You know, I'm from the old school, Bill. I think it was allowed. I think it was good. You know, I will tell you this: in the 10th round, I think Gassiev knocked down Dorticos because Dorticos tried to hang on and tackle Gassiev a little bit, and he was hanging on then, and that was in the 10th round. That should have been scored a knockdown, I think, because if Dorticos didn't fall or lean or hang on to Gassiev, Dorticos would have been down, and I think that should have been scored a knockdown, and maybe that would have hastened the referee's call in the 12th round. But I think going into the 11th or 12th round, I had the fight fairly even, and there was an ebb and flow, but I knew it shifted because you saw Dorticos. He was always pushing Gassiev back. In other words, Gassiev was on the defensive, with his back to the ropes, but Dorticos didn't know really what to do once he had him on the ropes. He just threw 1 and 2 punches. There was no real 3-4. It wasn't a real big combination. And when I saw the momentum shift, was about the 10th and 11th round, and that's when Gassiev was backing up Dorticos. And then the end was just inevitable. Those were big shots, heavy shots, and that's what did away with Dorticos, and Gassiev came up big.
Yeah, that was the 11th round, I think, that you're referring to when Dorticos was attacking Gassiev and then got caught and basically held on. But my point is that he was in trouble in that 12th round. I mean, it was the beginning of the round. He wasn't. Obviously, it was towards the end. But I thought Eddie Claudio, I don't know. I think he should have waved that fight off. I don't think he should have waited until Dorticos got knocked through the ropes. He was in trouble after the first knockdown, but he was in real bad trouble after the second. There was no reason for him to take the third. He couldn't even. He was actually not even on his feet. So it was kind of weird, to tell you the truth, in my opinion. And I'm trying to think. I don't know if that wasn't that the same. Maybe I'm confusing it with another fight I watched, but wasn't that fight, that first knockdown that he got? I don't recall a count. I like he let him continue. Am I confusing that with another fight, or did he give him a full 8 count the whole time?
Maybe he started early when he was still on. I'm not sure, but I thought he gave him an 8 count. And you were correct. It was the prior round where he did hit him, and he kind of fell onto Gassiev. But no, I would believe that he did get an 8 count.
The first knockdown. I'm talking about the very first knockdown.
Yeah.
Okay. It seemed like, once he got up and he said he was okay, stupid Eddie let him continue. Normally, what happens is once the referee rules a knockdown, the timekeeper starts to count. Then the referee will look at the timekeeper and he'll have his hand up, 5 or 6 or whatever, wherever he picks up. And then the referee picks up the count. I didn't see that. At least, I've been under the weather, so maybe my mind is a little foggy. But I clearly think I remember that he didn't even get the full 8. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You know what? I want to go back and look at that now because you got me curious, and maybe you're right. It might have been a little hasty, but I'll go back and look at that.
Some other fights over the weekend in a grudge fight. And by the way, I had picked Gassiev with a late stoppage. So did you, I think, and we were both right on that one. Another big fight that took place on the other side of the pond. In the cruiserweight division, 2 young fighters, Lawrence Oakley and Isaac Chamberlain, going at it early in the career. I mean, this is what I love about these fighters from Europe. They're not afraid to risk an O, and these 2 guys both had O's going in. And Lawrence Oakley, he won. He won a unanimous decision, 98-89, 96-90, and 97-89. He put Chamberlain down in the first and sixth round, and Isaac Chamberlain loses for the first time in his career. I have a feeling these two guys are going to meet again sometime down the road, Sal.
I think you're right, and I think that will be a great fight in the second fight too.
Also, a fight that
go ahead.
Also, a fight that we talked about, but we did not break down and predict. Ted Cheeseman in a junior middleweight division improved to 13-0 with 8 knockouts when he beat Carson Jones. Carson Jones is a legitimate fighter. Jones drops to 40 wins, 13 losses, and 2 draws, 99-91 twice, and one judge had it a complete shutout, 100-89. So keep your eyes on Ted Cheeseman. One other fight that I wanted to talk about that took place on the other side of the pond, Tom Schwartz, who's ranked number 6 in the world at heavyweight by the WBO. I'm not so sure he deserves a ranking that high, but he was on the rise until an injury kind of kept him out of the ring for a little while, and he got back in the ring and took care of Samir Nebo, stopping him in the 4th round to improve to 20-0. Nebo drops to 10-2-1. Okay, for the cards that took place in the U.S., ESPN Saturday night. This was a terrible card. I said I didn't like the looks of it, and it was terrible. This was a top-ranked joke of a card, Sal. I mean, first of all, the fights we knew were not competitive. We knew that going on. Second of all, ESPN, listen, I love ESPN. I love the fact that we get a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week sports network. But let me tell you something. Boxing and ESPN is like oil and water. It does not mix, and I'll tell you why. And I know people are shaking their heads, but I'll tell you why. ESPN gives priority to every other sport. Whether you're watching tennis, whether you're watching Tinklewinks, Winky Dinks, or whatever, bowling, football, basketball, ESPN will not switch over until that's over. Now they'll tell you, go to ESPN News Channel and pick up the fight. Go here, go there. You got to switch your TV all around looking for the fight. I can't stand it. And then here's a guy, me, who was never a huge Teddy Atlas fan, but let me tell you something. ESPN is not the same without Teddy Atlas. This new guy is terrible. And Timothy Bradley does a decent job. I liked what I heard from Timothy Bradley. And Joe Tessitore is a great, lead guy. I mean, if you've never seen him call college football, he's fantastic. But I think that the boxing on ESPN needs Teddy Atlas. I hate to say it. I'm not. He didn't send me a check or nothing like that, but it needed it. Nonetheless, WBO super middleweight champion Gilberto Ramirez improved to 37-0 when he scored a one-sided beatdown over Habib Ahmed, who came in undefeated. But give me a break. This was all just a built-up record. He drops to 22-1. The official stoppage came at 2 minutes and 31 seconds. What did you think?
Well, as you say, it was a one-sided fight. Ramirez, I couldn't believe how much bigger he looked. He's a large, junior middleweight or super middleweight? He was a big middleweight there, and I'll tell you what, he did the basics. He was definitely dominant from the bell on, and I gave him pretty much every round. Maybe if I was very generous, I could score the first round a draw just as a feeling out process. But he established, his jab, his dominance, and keeping Ahmed backpedaling a little bit and on the defensive because he was throwing some big bombs. And he threw punches with the intent to make him hard and hurt him. And, it was the 6th round. He caught him and finally put him out of his misery. But it was a one-sided fight all the way, Billy C.
The co-main event, we got to see a guy that wants to become the next Manny Pacquiao, Jerwin Pretty Boy, and I know I'm murdering this poor guy's name, but Ann Kajas, he improved to 27-1 with a draw, retaining his belt. when he took care of business against his sacrificial lamb in Israel Gonzalez, who drops to 20-2. 1 minute and 50 seconds of the 10th round is when that joke of a fight came to an end. Any thoughts on Jerwin Pretty Boy? Do you think he showed you any glimpses of Manny Pacquiao?
I think it's a little. Excuse me. I think it's a little too early to see the ferocity and the enduring stamina of a Manny Pacquiao. Just in this young fighter's career, but he does have some skill. He does have a good mindset, and I think in time, the next couple of fights, we'll see him in. We'll see if he has any defining moment in these fights when he gets really tested, like Manny Pacquiao has been many times.
Yeah, I don't know. To suggest that he's like Manny Pacquiao, this.
No, I think it's a little far-fetched.
Yeah. No.
I think it's a little aggressive and a little bit of a big bite to chew.
Yeah, it's more like he should spit it out. But also, Jesse Hart looked very dominating when he took care of Thomas Mbuano in that fight. Took care of it in the very first round, 1 minute and 28 seconds. Jesse Hart improves to 23-1 with 19 knockouts. You know, the funny thing about it is they're going, Mbuano is, never been down, never lost. Oh, next thing you know, boom, he's out. That was you know what? That was the uppercut. That was the uppercut that I was confusing with all the fights I watched this weekend. That was the uppercut that put this guy out. That fight stunk to me. Like, I don't mean the entertainment value. I mean, there was something fishy about that fight. I don't know. What did you think?
Well, I didn't see the entire fight there, Bill. I caught glimpses of that, and it didn't have the real serious tone of what I thought would be a good competitive fight, and it is what it is. You know, did it smell a little fishy? I can't say that, but it wasn't as a real good competitive combatant fight.
Well, 1 minute and 28 seconds of the first round, and they're trying to.
Well, I know.
They're trying to build.
The guy went out there and he just took.
Well, they're trying to build it. They're trying to build the guy as granite chin and everything else, and he laid an egg. But and then on Friday night on Showtime, we had a couple of good fights. But unfortunately, what seems to be the norm lately, Ronald Ellis in the super middleweight division and Junior Yaunin fought to a draw. The way the judges scored it, 96-94 for Ellis, 96-94 for Yaunin, and the third plant judge, as they were reading the scorecards, I said, this guy's going to have it even. And sure enough, 95-95, the fight ends in a draw. We're setting up a rematch. If a fight is legitimately a draw, then so be it. This particular fight, I think it was a draw. I don't know. I thought, to be honest with you, I did think that Yaunin started off, in control, but I thought maybe Ronald Ellis stole it at the end. I don't know. I would like to see a rematch. Did you get the chance to see this one?
I got home from the pizzeria, and I put on Showtime. I just caught like the last round.
All right.
And then, unlike HBO shows those fights 3-4 times consecutively. I couldn't find it anywhere on Showtime till I think it just popped up this morning somewhere.
All right.
So I didn't see the rebroadcast yet.
All right. Also on that card, Thomas Matisse improved to 11-0 with 9 knockouts when he scored a 7th round stoppage over Ronaldo Chinilla, who drops to 15-2-1 with 6 KOs. Official time was 1 minute and 31 seconds of the 7th round. And in the super lightweight division, Montana Love improved to 9-0 with 4 knockouts when he scored an 8-round majority decision over a tough Sam Tay, who drops to 12-2-1, 78-74 twice. And then, of course, the plant judge with 76-76. Listen, we're going to take a short break. Sal, you can work on your video because obviously you're connected, but you need to work on your video. We're going to take a short break. When I come back, Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker lands on Showtime. Is this the nail in the coffin for HBO? I'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belt won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace? Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And speaking of being with us, it looks like we finally got the technical marvel known as Sal Rocky Senecola online. What's up, Sal?
I can't believe it. It does say I have a very weak internet connection. So
okay, all right. We don't have to get into the technical stuff. I'll talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about that later. I'll talk to you about that later. But hey, Sal, Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua, a heavyweight unification fight. This is going to be taking place on March 31st. It was announced yesterday that Showtime, not HBO, Showtime will be showing this fight. Now, they're also showing earlier in that month the Deontay Wilder against Luis Ortiz fight. I think this is a damaging blow to HBO. HBO should have opened up their checkbook and did what they had to do to get Anthony Joshua and Parker on the network. To me, this is like a race with a couple of cars, and Showtime just shifted it into third gear and is just pulling away from HBO. Can they rebound from this? Is HBO losing interest in boxing? I mean, I admit that the Three Stooges have to be, they have to change. But Showtime's got a horrific broadcast team as well, at least one guy, Ronaldo. But what does Showtime, by gaining Joshua Parker on their network, what does that do for boxing and HBO?
Well, of course, Showtime wants to step it up. They always have. They should feel like they're pulling ahead as the elitist in the group. But HBO, for whatever reason, they should have signed, sealed, delivered, and secured that fight well before it even got out to for a bidding thing. But they dropped the ball there, and HBO, they've got to really look at things and really look at their team, look at what fights they want to go for this year, and look for what they're going to be opening up their pocketbook for. Because if they don't really pull into some of the big hitters, no pun intended, they are going to be second string. I mean, it's suggested now, but it'll be clearly defined with their next couple of moves, or lack thereof.
Anthony Joshua has proven that he's the biggest draw in boxing today. He's proven it. And HBO laid an egg with their last broadcast, and they don't really. It doesn't appear that they have anything big on the horizon except for the Triple G Canelo rematch, which is pay-per-view. But that fight it doesn't matter where that's going to be. People are going to watch it. I think it was critical that HBO got the Anthony Joshua deal done. Obviously, Showtime anteed up more money. At this stage, I don't think HBO should have let Showtime win, and they did. And Showtime now, I just think that they're really putting some distance, big-time distance, between themselves and HBO when it comes to watching the best fights on a premier cable network.
Well, I think you're right there, and as I said, HBO should have really made this an aggressive move to secure, and unfortunately, they did not do that. And it's going to go to two major networks, one of the two major vehicles, and that's going to be Showtime out of the two. HBO should have made a bigger stance. I think it was a big short-sightedness on their part.
Okay, I know you are a fan of Jeff Horn because of his style and what him coming and basically beating Manny Pacquiao, even though I felt Manny won the fight, but nonetheless, I think that the aggression and the come at you, never die, never quit attitude of Jeff Horn won over the judges, and it was also in his hometown, but that's besides the point. Now, Terrence Crawford, who moved up to the welterweight division, is fighting his first fight, technically, in the welterweight division, and he has become Jeff Horn's mandatory title challenger for the WBO. Now, we know that Jeff Horn had a stay busy fight not too long ago. But check this out, Sal. And I'm correct at you favoring a fighter like Jeff Horn and his style, right?
Well, yes and no, Bill. I wasn't in love. I didn't think Jeff Horn was the bomb.
I didn't say that.
In fact, I
didn't say that.
Saying that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to beat Jeff Horn. He's not a world beater by no means, but he was good enough that night to put it together in an aggressive manner to take the fight to Manny Pacquiao and outpunch him, in my opinion, and he did win that fight. But no way do I think he's a world beater.
I never said that you thought he was great. Never said you thought he was a world beater.
But I thought he was good.
All I said was you like his style, come at you and attack, correct?
You know what? You should be an attorney because you got me there. I like his style. Come at you and attack and throw the punches. Let the hands fly. So yes, I do. Okay. And yes, I did.
Okay. Well, it's an exciting way of fighting. There's no question about that. And people like it. But maybe Manny Pacquiao landed more shots on him than we realize. And maybe those shots had an everlasting effect on Jeff Horn. And I'll tell you why. Because Jeff Horn says, I know Crawford's a great boxer, But there's a lot of guys out there with speed and skills that he has, but it's not going to matter. I'm going to beat Terrence Crawford, and then when I'm done with him, I want to move up and beat Canelo. I'm going to move to heavy middleweight and beat Canelo. So Jeff Horn is already convinced that he's going to take care of Terrence Crawford and then move on up into the middleweight division and take on Canelo. Some pretty big aspirations. What's your thoughts?
Bold statement. I think he may be over chomping on the bit. I think Terrence Crawford is actually. I'm not going to disrespect or put Manny Pacquiao down, but I know it was like I said, he rose to the occasion that night. I think he's going to be in with a fighter who is more capable to deliver on the move and avoid the punches, and he's not just going to be a stationary target on the ropes like Manny Pacquiao was. So when Jeff Horn got Terrence Crawford with those punches and with that aggression, Terrence Crawford is going to easily sidestep a counter and move and be out of distance for this guy to hit, and he's going to counter him. No, I think Terrence Crawford is going to beat this guy and give him a boxing lesson.
I agree. And Manny Pacquiao shouldn't have taken his foot off the gas.
No,
I think the age factor caught up with Manny. And he was just, Jeff Horn was the kind of fighter that was just throwing punches. They may not have been landing flush on his face all the time, but they were landing, like you've suggested in the past, on his elbows, on his arm, on his chest, on his neck, on his, And I think at one point during that fight, Manny thought he had the fight in the bag and decided to coax. And, it ended up losing the fight for him. But Jeff Horn is making a huge mistake if he thinks that, Manny Pacquiao is equal to or better than Terrence Crawford. And I'm saying that Manny Pacquiao at this stage of his career, because earlier in his career, no one could have beat Manny Pacquiao when he was on the rise. And that's why I always wish that he and Floyd had fought at least 3 or 4 years earlier, because then we could have put all of that right to rest. When they did fight, obviously Floyd won that fight easily, in my opinion. And I think that was a result of the styles that they both had. Floyd was much more preserved. But with that said, Terrence Crawford is no aging Manny Pacquiao. And for Jeff Horn to not only look at Terrence Crawford as a win, he's looking beyond him, Sal. He's looking beyond him to fight Canelo, who, by the way, in case somebody should whisper into Jeff Horn's ear, he's still got to fight Triple G before anything happens. So I think this is a huge mistake. I mean, it's one thing to be confident, but can't you be overconfident?
Well, you can be overconfident, and I think Jeff Horn, whether it's a false security and trying to make him make it sound like he is bolstered up and he's able to handle anybody he faces. But the truth of the matter is this too, and I've said, Manny Pacquiao, I think he overchomped the bit a little bit with all the weight classes he stepped up to. Yes, he was able to handle himself and do that, but don't forget this guy started out as a flyweight. Now I think Terrence Crawford is a better size welterweight than Manny Pacquiao tried to be, and I also think that he's got more boxing skills at a larger level at this time than a fading older Manny Pacquiao showed us that time. In all due respect to Manny Pacquiao, because he was a world beater and he was number one and he was the best.
Oh, there's no question. At least in my opinion,
a warrior. No, I mean, he gave everything. Manny Pacquiao of yesteryear was not the Manny Pacquiao that stepped in the ring with Jeff Horn. And don't anybody ever put those two Manny Pacquiaos together that night, because that was a different Manny Pacquiao. That wasn't the Manny Pacquiao that we're used to seeing.
No, and that's my point about Jeff Horn.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was good enough to beat an old Manny Pacquiao that night, but he's not a world beater, and I think he's going to get a boxing lessons and eat some leather the night he steps in the ring with Terrence Crawford.
No doubt. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. We come back. I got a bunch of emails to read. Sal and I will give you our thoughts on those. And all of that is coming up in about 2.
Billy C will be right back.
relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative three-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. Programming note, we will not be doing any shows next week. On vacation. I know what you're saying. Wasn't this guy just on vacation before? No. It was work. Now it's vacation. But we'll be back the week after. And for as far as I know, we don't have anything planned for quite some time. Speaking of something planned, don't forget August. I will get you dates probably by the time I get back from vacation. Now's the time. Start making the plans. We're going to have a huge event in St. Simons, the best yet. Lots of celebrities going to be there. We're going to have a golf tournament where you can play golf with these guys and gals. We'll also have a friendly fishing tournament. And I'm even thinking, Sal, maybe have some kind of pizza eating contest at Sal's. What do you think about that?
You know, we could. And you know what I gave to the girls the other night? I'll tell you, Sunday night. I make on a very rare occasion. and it happened a couple of years ago. I developed it for one of our customers who wanted something completely different. And by our slice pie, our big 20-inch slice pie, what I do is I will make a lasagna pizza. And I made some for two of my girls, and Mary Kate and Emily the other night, and they loved it. It was they couldn't finish it all, so I had to step in and offer to have a couple bites, but it's good. I want to give you my lasagna pizza, as well as I still have to give you my breakfast pizza, Billy C.
I know you let me down. Hey, listen, we're going to read a bunch of emails, Sal, but first, why don't you show us your thing you had there with
gift? I can't believe this. Okay, like I said, this guy comes in every year. One year he gives me Elvis Presley glasses and it's the exact duplicate of Elvis Presley's glasses, and I put them on myself. Thank you very much. I just feel like this. I go to the microphone. And then one year he brings me, I don't have any tattoos, but he brings me these sleeve tattoos that you put on. It has a skin tone and has all tattoos. So I had tattoos on my sleeves. It was pretty neat. And this year he comes in, and just like Monty Hall, he had a pizza order for a couple pies. He was having beer with a couple of his friends, and he says, "Sal, in box number 1, I am willing to trade this box for my pizzas today." And I said, John, listen, I appreciate your enthusiasm, and this is like Monty Hall, box number 1. Let's make a deal. Where's Carol Merrill, Chicago 60609? Remember that? That was the old Spiegel catalog. Anyway, so I say that's fair enough. And he said, believe me, when I say you're going to enjoy this, and I think this is probably more valuable than what your price you're going to charge me for your pizzas. I said, John, I have all confidence. There's no problem. So let me open it up. I unfold this neatly wrapped box that went through the mail with all kinds of cushioning and bubbles, and I pull out, I don't know how old this is, Billy C., but this is an old bell off a ring with the pull chain and everything, and you got it. I mean, how cool is that? Can you imagine if I hang this in my restaurant? I could see Heather bringing it all day for me. Bang, bang.
Yeah, that's me too, hanging it in your restaurant. Oh, no.
Look at this baby. Look, can you imagine this, Bill? I'd like to get the Circa. I'm going to look for some serial numbers or something else. But look at this baby right here. Unbelievable.
The funny thing is every single bell that I've ever seen at ringside, unless that's, real old, I've never seen a chain. Normally it's a bell and they use a hammer.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think, oh my gosh, look at it. It says John L. Sullivan.
Yeah, right.
Mamma mia.
Yeah,
John L. Sullivan.
They didn't even have it. That's pretty cool. And I hope to see that hanging in the restaurant next time I come down.
Fear. Should I hang it in my house? Or it could be my new doorbell. I could put it outside.
No, you should.
Or in a pizzeria, I'm afraid there's going to be too many people pulling the chain. And they already pull my chain. So
you're pulling their chains the whole time too. No, I say put it in with all the rest of the stuff you got at the restaurant.
It would be great, right on my boxing wall of fame. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's cool. I like it. We got some emails. Let's read some emails because I got a lot of them here. This first one is from my man Matt Quinn, my buddy up in Buffalo. He says, "Hey Billy C, wow. Can words even describe the beauty of the Gassiov-Dorticos fight? I was fortunate enough to watch live with my father, and even as a fight fan of over 50 years, he said that this was one of his all-time favorite fights. Every ingredient to a great fight was on display. The best were fighting the best. The action was brutal yet skillful, and it ended in a violent fashion out of the judges' hands. Gassiov and Sanchez came up with a tremendously effective game plan to take down a supremely heavy hitter. Excuse me. Gassiov displayed patience, poise, consistent body work, and effective combos that simply wore Dorticos down. One surprise for me was Gassiev's great defense. After watching him at the Prudential Center last fall, I didn't know he could. Oh, excuse me, my voice is going pretty quickly here. He says, I didn't know he could or would fight that way. On the other side of the coin, what heart and toughness from Dorkikos. Quite simply, the damage he was taking in rounds 8 on would have demolished most fighters. I have no idea what kept them up. I wish they would match him versus Breedis for a consolation bout, but I would gladly watch Dorkikos again. To top it all off, this fight leads us to a mouth-watering cruiserweight undisputed championship between Usyk and Gassiev. When this tournament started, I thought Usyk was a clear favorite. Maybe he still is, but I will be in the Gassiev camp. I will make one prediction, however. There is no chance Usyk KOs Gassiev. Murat Gassiev's neck may, in fact, be a tree trunk. Kudos to the WBSS for delivering such a great gift to boxing fans around the world, around the globe. Now, he's got another comment here, but I couldn't describe this any better than my man Matt just did. And the truth of the matter is that this tournament, and this is why it bothers me so much, Sal, that the U.S. bigwigs for the television networks did not pick this up. This is what you need in the sport of boxing. You need first of all, you need fighters willing to take the risk and take the chance of losing their belt. Because remember, these guys all had a belt. And now, when we're done, one guy's going to have all 4 belts. That's number one. Number two, not knowing who you're going to fight after, that first seeding. It all depends on who wins. I mean, Matt is right, Sal. This had all the ingredients from the beginning of just making this tournament to the fight itself. What's your thoughts?
Well, let me tell you, Bill, as I said earlier on, how could we unify a championship? How could we do something? How could we get the boxing back into what prize fighting was meant to be? Recognize one champion per weight class and let them reign as long as they can defend that title. And, this tournament has been spectacular, and it's defining champions. It's defining spectacular fights, combatant fights, competitive fights. And I'll tell you what, why it's not televised here is because there are no U.S. fighters. I mean, that's one of the reasons, possibly. And everybody wants to claim ownership, and that's part of theirs. And had we had some fighters from the United States partake in this tournament, there might have been some interest to pull it over here and highlight them. And I'm sure. But for us to, in the USA, just to not televise it or bring it into the living rooms or talk about it as much, I think it's short-sighted, and it doesn't do the sport of boxing good, because here you have an idea, an opportunity for everybody and anybody to go into an open tournament like this, a tournament of champions. That's what it should be defined as, a tournament of champions. But there's no U.S. fighters with their managers, with their promoters, willing to put the belt on the line, the money machine on the line, to lose, to do this, to do that, and to start from scratch. So that's why we have it all in the UK's hands. My hat's off to them. You've said it before. They carry the sport of boxing on their back.
Well, because boxing has become so global, with the advent of technology, with how we're able to see fights and stuff. To suggest that it's not a U.S. fighter. I mean, look at Kovalev. He's not a U.S. fighter, and before he became a quitter, people wanted to see him. Anthony Joshua is not a U.S. fighter. People can't get enough of him. For all intent and purposes, Triple G isn't even a U.S. fighter. Neither is Canelo. He's a Mexican fighter. So, I mean, I just think they dropped the ball. And I think the lack of knowledge, I think it had to do with the division. I think that because a lot of people here in the States don't really follow the cruiserweight division. The networks might have said cruiserweight and super middleweight, but that's the genius behind Richard Schaefer. He picked 2 divisions where he knew that he would have workable fighters that are willing to take the chance. That's why a tournament like this could not work. I would love to see it, but I don't think it could work if he chose like hot divisions, like a heavyweight division right now, or the middleweight division, or the welterweight division, where you get all these guys Could you imagine Errol Spence and Keith Thurman and you could sprinkle in Danny Garcia and whoever else at welterweight and Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao say, hey, okay, well, you guys, let's fight in a tournament. None of them would do it. There's too much risk, and this is why he chose these not so glamorous divisions, as least as the states here, the United States sees it. So I love it, and man, is it delivered. There's no question about it. Matt says, in other action this weekend, I thought ESPN did a great job with their card. I know it was a showcase, but I was glad to learn more about these fighters and their stories. The piece on Gilberto and growing up likely build up some fans. I had a few non-boxing friends with me on Saturday, and they enjoyed the event and would like to see him fight again. I acknowledge your comments last week regarding the showcase, but for these ESPN top-ranked cards, some positioning is warranted. I think Top Rank is in the long game and has had several great events. A few showcases to build up lesser-known fighters will always happen. Overall, I'm happy boxing's on ESPN, and I'm sure Top Rank will give us many good bouts. An undisputed 140-pound title fight between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux, and some great prospects and stories has been more in 6 months than the last 2 years of HBO. This leads me to two quick questions for you and Sal. What weights would you like for a second World Boxing Super Series? And two, do you think Top Rank will finalize the Lomachenko-Linares fight for May 12th? Early chatter seems promising. And he also says, I see Showtime got Joshua Parker. Can HBO be any deader? Well, we had opened up this segment saying about that. HBO seems to be dead. As far as the weights, Sal, well, first of all, thanks for your thoughts on the ESPN card, Matt. As you probably heard my thoughts in the beginning of the show, I thought it was a joke. I really do. When okay, if you look at it that way, like you want to see the fighters, you want to learn about them, fine. But don't bill it like it's a great matchup, because it's not. And I think that this sport needs a solid broadcast crew. People that know what they're talking about and don't yell and scream at you. That's what I think. But what do you think about if the World Boxing Super Series pick two more weight classes, Sal? Which ones would you like to see? I mean, I just said I would love to see heavyweight and welterweight, but I don't think that those fighters would be willing to do that. What weight classes would you like to see?
Well, you said it, and I'm not avoiding your question, but there's so much, even with my earlier answers, I think it was ingenious that he picked Schaefer, the less glamorous weight divisions, to highlight. And unfortunately, and I meant it was not the USA's apathy of not wanting to just broadcast it, but had there been a fighter representing or coming from the United States, then there might have been more of a likely decision to air some of the tournament, or at least that fighter from the States. I would hope so anyway. I would love to see if this does come to fruition, which it's going to be hard, Billy C., because like I said, a lot of the United States, or a lot of the big top contenders or world champions in these divisions that are so popular, they have more than one person to answer to, including their manager, promoters, and nobody wants to fork up a cash cow or golden fleece in the name of a tournament. So, but I would love to see the middleweight and the welterweight division, and eventually the lightweight division. If there was ever three, those are three glorious divisions.
No, you're right. I too would love to see those divisions. First of all, what it would take is the fighter's willingness to do it. And like you said, all the management and everybody else involved. But we've talked about this many times on the show. At the end of the day, it's up to the fighter. The fighter in the last decade has said to themselves, why should we take a beating? Let's make the most money. Who cares about the fans? And that's the sad truth, and it is what it is.
Well, it's a sad truth, but can you imagine, what about the first round draw? Okay, what do you think is going to happen? Here's these guys, they can fight for millions, they can do what they got to do. What do you think is going to happen if the first round draw is going to have Keith Thurman going against Errol Spence? Who the heck do you think is going to get injured, or they're going to, I don't know. I'm not calling either one of them wanting to not fight, but to do it inside of a tournament is going to be something that I don't think they're going to want to do. They're going to want to do that pay-per-view worldwide, titles on the line, boom and boom, big promotion and a highlight as a showcase for themselves, not just a tournament. So that's why it won't happen here with some of those popular weight classes.
But they can still do that. They can
still
have
do
the
that.
fights
But like what I'm
pay-per-view.
saying is, I don't see it in the framework of a tournament with brackets, and where you're going to see a Keith Thurman drawing or fighting against an Errol Spence and a winner go on there or something else, unless they're in two different brackets. I just think for those guys, or for not even Errol Spence. Errol Spence probably would be more likely to do it than I think a Keith Thurman. I don't think somebody in Keith Thurman's position, and I could be totally wrong, would want to say, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and I'm going to enter the tournament and let's see what the brackets draw and I'll fight anybody anywhere. I'm saying some of our champions in the United States or some of the other champions in the popular divisions might not be so willing to throw that hat in the ring on that level against who they're going to just throw it to the wind or who they're going to draw to fight. That's all I'm saying.
And you're right. That's the problem. You know, they don't care about proving the best. They say they're the best, and half the fans agree with them. You know, they say, "Oh, I'm the best," and all their little crony fans say, "Oh, yeah, he's the best." Yeah, well. Another email. This one's from my man Jeffrey from Pennsylvania. He says, hey, Billy C., just a shout out for the World Boxing Super Series. See, all of our viewers and listeners know that the World Boxing Super Series was a real deal. I mean,
we have a smart
you know,
fan base,
the problem is the casual fan. They're the ones that don't even watch it. But anyway, he says, these are top-notch fighters risking their careers to prove they're the best. And that's what boxing's all about. I finished watching Gassiev Dorticos, two genuinely tough, skilled cruiserweights performing at a very high level. Action from round one through the explosive finish in the 12th. Both fighters used their skill set to try to offset the others, and to be honest, both were effective in a very competitive fight. When Gassiev slipped that jab and landed that flush left hook, his honest reaction seemed to be that of saying, finally, what I've been trying to do paid off. Dorticos showed great heart in getting up, but too much damage was done, and Gassiev knows how to close the show. Dorticos crossed the line slightly from confidence to disrespect, but I attribute that to his youth and believe in his numerous skills. Gassiev is kind of fun just because he shows great confidence and true appreciation for the showcase of this series. I am enjoying this whole series. Quality boxing. By the way, love the new fantasy matchups on the show. A fun addition. Jeff, I agree with you. Everything you said. I love the World Boxing Super Series, and we loved it from the time it was announced. And, man, is it living up to the billing. So thanks for the email. We got another one. This is from Luke Thunder Breslin. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal. First off, I just want to say the show on Thursday has finally drawn a line under my thoughts on Mayweather. The analysis you guys gave and we all had, for me, summarized exactly my feelings on the man. I just want to thank everyone for their input. I feel that I'm finally at peace. I just want to express my sympathies to the American boxing fans. The World Boxing Super Series fight on Saturday night is one of the best fights I've seen in recent memory. To me, it was a modern-day Rocky IV. However, Ivan won this time. Dorticos absorbed so much punishment and just stood there without flinching. However, it just caught up with him in the final round. Both these fighters are a credit to the sport for what they displayed in the ring Saturday. This was an all-out war. Gassiev took the early rounds. Dorticos was there the entire time, and to be honest, I was scared of what this man was doing. Not in a bad way. I just thought he was otherworldly. He says the stoppage in the final round, there was no argument. Both fighters have raised their stock, and I think this is a prime example of what we've been discussing over the past few shows. These guys took risks, and whilst there was one winner and one loser on paper, there were no losers in reality. Everybody won here. I look forward to seeing the final in the World Boxing Super Series at Cruiserweight. I also look forward to seeing both fighters again in whatever campaigns they choose to do. This was a credit to boxing, a credit to the sport, and I just want to thank them for what they left in the ring. It's hard to deny these guys' thoughts. I mean, Luke hit it on the head, and this kind of falls to what I say all the time, Sal. The sport of boxing, you don't need to pound your chest and demand respect. And I think our emails today are living proof that if you perform in the ring at a certain level, people are going to the true fight fans are going to notice and give you the accolades. You don't have to remind anybody. If somebody's reading what to think about someone else, then you're not a fan. I don't know. I mean, grow up and make your own decision and let the fighters show it to you, right?
Well, you're right. I mean, and what you just read from the viewers is right on. And listen, they sent that email in, and they're left with the impression of what they saw as a good fight and a memorable fight. And those are the things that build the legends and build the history makers and build everything that boxing was all about and represents to this day. And the fans decide for themselves. When they see something they like or they see a fighter they like, that's what I'm saying. They identify themselves. They identify their fans, and they will follow that fighter till the end. And the bottom line is, this weekend we heard from the fans. They enjoyed seeing what they saw.
Yeah, well, I mean, it speaks volumes, you know.
It speaks volumes, and they don't have to. And neither fighter said, "Well, I'm going to beat your butt. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to." We didn't hear any of that. We just saw two combatants get in a ring. The bell rung. Where's my bell? And boom, they were off. Well, and the fans are talking about it now, and that's what amplifies the fans' comments and feedback. Amplifies the passion and the heart of what boxing is all about, and that's all you need.
Despite not having U.S. television, it seems like a lot of people still watched it, and
yes.
I think the execs at the network should open up their eyes. I got another email I'm going to read, and then we're going to take a break and finish up the emails. I got a lengthy one coming up after this from my man Coach, so we'll get into that in a second. But this one's good morning, Billy C and Sal. It's me, Raheem. Hey, Raheem.
Good morning.
Says, I lost money on the Eagles, but it's okay for me because it's their first Super Bowl. I know that Joe Frazier was from Philly, and I was wondering why the city has a Rocky statue and now possibly a Super Bowl statue, but I think the city needs to put one up for Joe Frazier, and I am wondering why the city doesn't have Smokin' Joe. I'm a big boxing fan and know my history of the top great boxers, and Joe needs a statue. Also, on boxing, why is everyone thinking Joshua's going to beat Parker? Parker has the WBO belt, and Joshua has the lesser belt. And I agree with you that the WBA does not really count. I don't have any comments for Raheem. Any of the comments, really. Do you have any comments for Raheem?
Yeah, I give Raheem some kudos and some compliments here. I think he made some nice points, and first of all, hey, I heard the other day, not to get too sidetracked, that somebody actually slipped a Tom Brady jersey over the Rocky statue in Philadelphia. Pretty gutsy, huh? I wonder when they did that, between midnight and 5. I don't know. Didn't help in any way. But the bottom line is, yeah, I could see a Joe Frazier statue somewhere there, or at least a tribute. And I'm sure there's got to be something there with Joe Frazier in mind. Now, Joe Frazier was actually born and grew up a little bit outside of Hilton Head, or on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, maybe even Beaufort. I think that was it.
He was born. It's exactly where he was born, in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Beaufort, South Carolina. And, of course, he made his home fighting state by the time he was old enough to be reckoned with, and was Philadelphia. And Philly became the prodigal son, not Rocky, but the prodigal son was Joe Frazier. And you can never deny the fact that Joe Frazier was known for that powerful, damaging, devastating left hook. And if he caught you with one or two of those, you were going to see lights out probably.
But listen, the reason why I think that Philly has the Rocky statue and not Joe Frazier, think about how many great fighters came from the city of Philadelphia. I mean, there'd be no room for people with all those statues. I think that they put the Rocky statue because of the symbolic reason. And quite honestly, I don't think Raheem knows his boxing history because, listen, yes, I have said that I feel the WBO is a better belt than the WBA, but first of all, Anthony Joshua has the WBA and the IBF. But you have to look at who's the better fighter based on who they fought. And Anthony Joshua clearly has the tougher resume than Joseph Parker. I'm not knocking Joseph Parker. He probably could beat Deontay Wilder pretty easily, but he's not going to beat AJ. I don't know. I mean, interesting email. What do you think?
I think it was good. I think, Raheem, keep it up, man. It was very, very entertaining and gave us some things, and that's why we're still talking about it. So, good email, Raheem, on my view.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I got a couple more emails to read, and we'll get to that in about 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free. Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Listen. Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And don't forget, we're not going to be doing a show next week. We're on vacation, but we'll be back the following week. I'm here with Sal Rocky Senecola, and we are going to read another email. This is a long one, so I'm going to read it in sections. This is from my man, Coach. He says, hey, Billy C., I had a great sports weekend. There was plenty of good fights and, of course, the Super Bowl. That is until between fights I watched some Super Bowl hype show, which quickly deteriorated into a Tom Brady bashing party. What is it that makes people hate winners? after attacking him for his on and off field success, his looks, his money, his wife, and solid family life, to my surprise, which surely must have been a producer screw up or just the work of a short-sighted, blind, ignorant subordinate, they showed a clip of Brady answering a question about winning, to which he replied, "If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to kill me." It immediately rang familiar to me, and I later realized it was from Rocky IV. And he put the link for Rocky IV. It also reminded me of one of your shows a while back when you and Sal were talking about the country and the sports getting soft. Well, everyone gets a trophy. Makes me wonder, what is it in today's culture that makes people just naturally hate winners? I know President Trump and Brady are friends. Even there, we get some bashing. Funny thing is I watch a president actually keep his promises. The country's getting stronger in every aspect, and most are getting pay raises and tax cuts. Why is it many follow some misguided agenda and attack them? They are proven winners. Bringing it back to sports, I ask, if you were an NFL coach, who would you want as your quarterback? An all-in winner like Brady, or the flash-in-the-pan, fading, self-centered national anthem-kneeling, agenda-riding malcontent, Colin Kaepernick? Bill, before the millennium, you know,
millennium?
Yeah, that's it, the millennium. TMZ boxing fans chime in. I'm very aware of boxing's so-called winner and self-proclaimed best ever, 50-0. I beat everybody I put in front of me, Floyd Mayweather. But Floyd Money Mayweather and Brady are a stark contrast. I see no character or integrity associated with Mayweather, especially outside the ring. I know Brady plays a team game and on the job plays the hand he's dealt in the means of a schedule that forces the best to play the best. There's no dealing from the bottom of the deck like selecting a Berto fight for number 49 and pro-debuting McGregor for number 50, unlike the dominoes setting picker, Floyd Mayweather. I'm sure if the Patriots played a college schedule, they would be unbeaten too. Also, when it comes to off-field behavior, you'll never see Brady push an agenda, flash cash, flaunt strippers, toot his own horn, or be involved in any off-field garbage like the out-of-the-ring woman beater. Oh, and by the way, in my arrogant opinion, holding numerous regular season records and Super Bowl records for most games, 8, most passes in a career, 357, most completions in a career, 235, most passing yards in a career, 2,576, most passing yards in a game. This is, I think, for Super Bowl records only. 505, most touchdown passes, career 18. Even if after a loss, it's Brady's temperament, discipline, and disposition, veracity, leadership, and integrity that makes him, in both my eyes and that of many pundits, the hands down NFL's BQE, best quarterback ever. Not his wallet or the car he drives. Oh, yeah. And by the way, you will never hear a Brady fan use how much money he has made as a stat. To end this week's rant, as I watch the country get stronger, the stock market and the 401ks scream, and watching Brady, now 5-3 in Super Bowl appearances, pass for 505 yards in yesterday's game, I do recognize both Trump and Brady as winners with just one possible future flawed panel, inflation. So now, with my eyes wide open, I ask America, please recognize that competition in the ring, on the field, at work, in school, and almost everything you do in life, competition is the key to becoming great. So let's all rally around the Eagles winning their first Super Bowl and make winning okay again. I can't disagree with Coach. First of all, Brady. My thought on why people can't stand Brady. I respect Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but I got to admit, I can't stand them either. But it's because they beat up on my Jets all the time. And I think people have a tendency to not like a team when they're so dominating for so long, like the Yankees, like the 49ers when they did. What do you think, Sal?
I think it's along that line, but I think it even goes a little bit beyond. I think, let me tell you, people have asked me who I wanted to win. And I got to respect, and that's what I said. I first said I respect the New England franchise and their whole management team, as well as Tom Brady as their quarterback. I love winners, and no matter by hook or crook, except for the other night, they usually find a way or know how to win. They're doing it through desire, passion, skill, and heart. And like any fighter, I would love to follow or watch or admire. The same thing for the New England Patriots. I thought, of course, I love my New York Giants, and I'm probably one of the only Giants fans that would root for New England Patriots to win the Super Bowl, but I did. And they came up short, and they took it like a man. But the bottom line is, or like any good sports competitor, and Philadelphia rose to the occasion. They took advantage of opportunities, and my hat's off to them. So I do love winners, and I think this country should celebrate winners. Maybe I think one of the reasons why some people don't really follow or want to see a loser or want to see a winner lose is because they may have identified as that winner or consistent winner maybe being beyond mortality or beyond what they can reach or they aspire, and they want to see a flaw. They want to see somebody else get it, and they want to see somebody trip. I don't know, Bill, but I think it's a whole mechanism that triggers people for rooting for underdogs as well, because we always like an underdog. Henceforth, Rocky. Am I still there?
What am I? Again, nobody was hearing me. Why don't you tell me you can't hear me? Jeez.
I couldn't hear you, buddy. I'm tapping my ears. It's not because I have an earache. I'm like, hello.
I was coughing and I hit the button. But what I'm saying is the only people that hate Tom Brady are fellow Jet fans, And all I know is I leaned over to a buddy and I said, when Tom Brady gets the ball back, they're down by 8. There's 1 minute and 3 seconds to go. I lean over, no timeouts. I lean over to my buddy and I go, this is exactly where Tom Brady wants to be. I mean, this is the last guy you want to give the ball back with more than, I don't want to give him the ball back at all. And but the Eagles, to the Eagles' credit, what they did to beat the Patriots was they didn't go into a shell. A lot of times what teams do when they play the Patriots is they get too conservative. They start trying to outthink or think too much, and they don't take chances. They don't try to do great things. The Patriots do take chances and do great things. That's why they're successful. The Eagles did not fold, going for fourth down, scoring a touchdown, rushing and blitzing Tom Brady when you knew that he was going to be dropping back to pass, and most teams put extra guys back in coverage. But to Tom Brady's credit and his receivers' credit, they always find a way to get open just a little to squeeze in a ball. The Eagles didn't fall for that and ultimately won the game. But I thought it was a great Super Bowl. I had a lot of fun watching it. I wasn't a big fan of either team. I had predicted that the Patriots were going to win, but I also said I was rooting for the Eagles 100%, so I was glad that they won.
You did say that, and I too thought it was a great competitive game, and as you said, the Eagles didn't fold. A lot of the times, these guys in the second half, after they get beat up a little bit in the first half, their defense starts to have holes in it. The opposing team against New England, and New England finds a way to thread that needle even better and run up the line, and they usually come out on the winning side. The Eagles did not give it up. And they did not stop taking those chances. I mean, how many times did they go for a 2-point conversion and they blew it? But still, and with that being said, instead of the 7 points or 8 points, they would have gotten. They settled for 6 to at least 2 times. So they did. They fought their heart out. They didn't give up. I mean, it's like a fighter. If you're afraid to lose, you're going to be afraid to win. Not afraid to win, but you're not going to do the things to win that they normally would. So. Like the football team they weren't afraid to lose. They put it on the line. They took the chances necessary, and they proved to be the better team that night in the Super Bowl.
You're right. You got to play to win, not play to not lose, and that's exactly what other teams do. They step in the game. I was going to say step in the ring. They step on the field and they say, okay, we can't let them beat us, but they don't think about beating them, and that's what the Eagles did. Great point.
I said bingo again.
Last email. This is from my main man, Steve Barr. Now, Steve. Yeah, you remember Steve. He came down.
I do remember Steve.
He says, hey, Billy C., I hope the event went well down at St. Simon's the other week. I had planned to attend again, this time with my son, but in the end, work got in the way of a good time. I had to travel to San Francisco for work. Not bad, but would rather have been down with you guys. By the way, I came across an article below in a British newspaper regarding scoring fights and making the scoring more accessible. Thought it was an opportune following on from the Triple G Alvarez fight, which seemed to confound a lot of viewers with a draw decision and such a disparity with one of the judges' score being well out of sync with the other two. Would be interesting in your and Sal's thoughts on that. Well, I printed out, thanks for the email, Steve, and marked down, I'll give you the exact dates, but it's the end of August. You got to bring your son and anybody else with you to the next event. It's going to be the biggest and best ever. I printed out the article that Steve wanted me to read, and here's the gist of it. With what the author said, he says basically there are a lot of and obviously there's more to it than this. It was several pages, but the gist of it is right here. He says, and I quote, "But there are a lot of He says, but there are plenty of average sport fans who probably would I can't even read today. But there are plenty of average sports fans who would probably quite enjoy watching boxing if only they understood it." He says, there is a huge, simple way to solve this problem. Take the scorecards and put them up on a big screen every round, not just for the ref to see, not just for the corners of the fighters, but for every man, woman, and child watching in the arena and at home. In no other competitive sport is the score a secret until the very end, and for the average passing fan, channel hopping past a random Saturday night card on Sky Sports, it makes the sport that much harder to understand. The line that says, but there are plenty of average sports fans who would probably quite enjoy boxing if only they understood it, makes me believe that this article was clearly written by a non-boxing fan. Let me explain to you why I feel that way. If you posted the scores for everyone to see. Now, first of all, let me say this. I agree that something has to be done with the scoring system. Or at the very least, we have to make sure that all the judges are scoring based on the a fixed priority of the scoring criteria. We all know what the scoring criteria is, but I have a firm belief that many judges put that priority in a different order, and thus we end up with scorecards that are out of whack. But here's the problem. If you put a score up on a screen for everybody to see, and in this article, this author says, if he sees that you're down 8-1 and you're going into, the last round, or 8-2 and you're going into the last round or whatever, it might get you to go all out. But here's the other negative side. If a fighter sees that he's winning, he may take his foot off the gas. If a fighter sees he's losing, he may quit. His corner might say, you don't have any chance of winning, let's quit the fight. I don't like the fact that they would post the scoring for everyone to see. I think that we need to tighten up the scoring system, not so much let people look at it. I don't think it has any bearing on whether people are going to watch it or not. The best way to get people to watch the sport is to put entertaining fights on. End of story. Your thoughts, Mr. Rocky Sanicola.
Thank you very much. I'm going to tell you this, Bill. I think at our last event, I interrupted and while we were watching some of the classic fights that were great to watch, and I chimed in and let the casual guest that we had there including the wives and everybody that may have just curiously stopped in. I got a lot of compliments afterwards when I said to everybody, remember when I told them how a fight is usually scored with a 10-point must system, and I broke it down and explained to them? They loved it because a lot of the casual fan is not truly aware of how it all happens. And now we got fans that know how it happens. And maybe a little slight engagement or invitation. I love when Harold Letterman comes on HBO every 3 rounds, and he gives us his credible and valid opinion of who's ahead and why. And Harold Letterman does a knock-up superb job, the best. And you can see why he's so successful. And I agree with him about 99% of the time. But if we have people engage, let the networks invite people. Hey, get your scorecards out, ladies and gentlemen. Heck, you could sell scorecards out. Let's get them to purchase with a kit. Have them for sale. Here's scorecards. Get your scorecard. Let's all watch the fight. Let's engage the fight. Here's what you do. You give 10 points to the winner of the round, 9 or less to the loser. If someone gets knocked down, you give it 10-8. Look at the 1 3-minute round in 3 separate increments of 1 minute. And then you see 2 out of 3 who wins that round. There's so many ways. Engage. Let the people become active. They can enjoy the fight, but let them try to be an armchair quarterback too. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, what? And have the popular vote score? I don't know about that.
No, not the popular vote. No, I like I said, and you make some credible, valid points too. Why you shouldn't post it on it? Because just like that. I mean. If a fighter knows he is ahead, will he take his foot off the pedal? I don't know. It does a fighter when he knows he's behind 9 rounds to 1 and he's got a last round, he's going to go out for the knockout anyway. Fighters do know. Fighters have the feeling whether they're winning or losing a fight. They're in the fight. I mean, it's them. So they have a hint. They can assess, and they're cornered. That's why you have a corner. Now, if the judging's all legit, maybe they should post it on the screen. Maybe they should post it on the TV. Just to see where every 3 or 4 rounds, like a Harold Letterman, whose opinion. Maybe that's something they could do. But I think the judges just have to be accountable. I think they got to be closer on the same page, and they've got to use the criteria that's passed down. And maybe they should take a proficiency test every couple of years or something else, or maybe like every industry with real estate, financial services, securities, which I used to do with insurance and stuff. Hey, we got to take continuing education credits. I'm sure the same thing with judges. They've got to take a proficiency test and schooling and everything else too, I would think.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think that there would be some negatives if the scores were posted for everyone to see?
I think there will be negatives no matter what. There's always going to be, because you can't please the masses. You can't accommodate everybody. And I do see the flaws if we posted it. What I mean by flaws is the possible, as you said, maybe it might affect the fighters, maybe not. Maybe the fighters shouldn't know what's going on, but they will know because there's too much technology today. I don't know, Bill. It's a good issue. It's a good issue. It's a big issue. Maybe they should let them know every 3 rounds what the three judges are scoring. I don't know. Or maybe they should just keep it with the criteria. Maybe they need to do what they did with Adeline Bird. As if somebody's that far off course from the other 2 judges, maybe they need to have a review before they say who's the winner.
Maybe they should just review who the judges are before they give them a pencil and a scorecard. Maybe they should just sit down and say, hey, and the worst part is you got joke of referees like Joe Cortez, training new groups of referees, and then we wonder why the refs suck. You got people that can't score. They should be given a crayon and a coloring book rather than a pencil and a scorecard, and they're teaching a new generation of judges how to judge. The problem is you got to break the mold now. You got to reboot here. It's like rebooting. It's like you had to reboot your computer this morning, Sal. The truth of the matter is we have to reboot some things in boxing.
Yeah,
it's the only way to clean it out and fix it. You can't keep putting Band-Aids on it. Look at our government. Our government, we've been putting Band-Aids on since Kennedy's been in office. Every year. or every new president blames the one before him. And then they Band-Aid all of the mistakes. And it's compounded. Now we're what? How many gazillion trillions of dollars are we in debt? And yet then you have media that talks negatively about stuff. And you got half people. It's amazing that it's come to, and I don't mean to get into politics, but it's amazing that depending upon your political view here in the United States, you tune into a specific television network to hear people that agree with you. And if you want a different view, you tune into another network. What happened to one network or all networks, giving the news as it is and let people make their own decisions on their own? You see, we've become a stupid society. We don't even do math anymore. Well, they don't even teach kids how to write the way we used to. We give everybody a participation trophy. We're becoming dumber. You see people walking around with their cell phones. They want to ask a question. Hey, Google, how do I get home? Google, Siri, how do I pump gas in my car? Give me a break. We've become so stupid. Siri, I don't know where my house is. Siri, I have to mail a letter. How do I do that, Siri? Come on. We become a bunch of idiots, Sal, and it's scary because we're getting dumber and dumber. You know the old saying about your private parts? Hey, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Well, it's the same thing with your brain. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And I'm sorry, but if you're Googling everything to find out this or that, you can't even have a discussion anymore. Hey, Mike Tyson was the best fighter ever. Oh, really? Well, according to Google, he wasn't. It's like, well, who the hell's Google? It's opinionated. I don't know, Sal. It's very frustrating.
It's so funny. I'm laughing here, Bill, because you're a road warrior today, and I used to be a road warrior when I was with my days with Northwestern Mutual Life, and I would be out of the tri-state area, and I'd have clients that lived down in Florida, Carolinas, this, that. I had to depend on road maps and finding addresses and just finding the most direct route. Or how many times did I go on 495, the outer loop and the inner loop, and I kept looping more than one time around. And you learn. You had to learn, and you had to get the most direct way, and you did it on a map. And then maybe you go to AAA, and they'll give you a trip ticker, and they'll highlight your direction. But the bottom line is now, you just, Siri, give me driving directions to so-and-so, and boom, you're right there. It's crazy.
Listen,
you're right.
You know that I travel back and forth. I've been down to Florida 100 gazillion times.
Yeah.
Okay. And I like, occasionally if I want to mix something up, if I punch in an address in my GPS, it'll take me there. But let's say I want to try something else that's out of, like, for example, I go a different way now to avoid some hassles in Washington and Richmond and stuff. And none of the GPSs give you that way, And so I want a map, an updated map, because there's new roads and stuff. You got to go into the places and ask for them. They used to be stacked out.
I know.
My father probably took all of them. But now you got to go ask. And then they make you sign a thing. Okay, where are you traveling? Who are you friends? Where are you going? It's like, oh, Jesus. Come on, with all this stuff. Throw me a map. I'll pay for it. Just give me a map. It's like, what do you need a map for? Ask Siri. What do you mean ask Siri? I don't ask Siri nothing. Google it. You can't. What do you need a map for? Just Google it. No, I want to look at a map. God, give me a break. It's pretty funny, but anyway. Hey, listen.
It is.
Tomorrow, we are doing our Blast from the Past on one of my all-time favorite fighters, Tommy the Hitman Hearns. So you're not going to want to miss
Tommy
that.
Hearns.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss that. And you're also not going to want to miss Larry Hazard. And don't forget, we'll be broadcasting Thursday and Friday. We are off all next week because yours truly is going on a vacation. And I just hope I'm 100%. I can't seem to shake this cold flu, whatever the heck I got. But in any event, hey, listen. On this day, I meant to tell you. I forgot all about this. On this day in boxing history, February 6th in 1998, Reggie Johnson knocks out William Guthrie in the fifth round to win the IBF World Light Heavyweight title. Took place in Connecticut. On this day in 2004, Glenn Johnson wins a 12-round decision over Clinton Woods to win the vacant IBF World Light Heavyweight title. It took place in England. On this day in 1987, Deontay Wilder's trainer, Mark Breland, knocks out Harold Volbrecht in the 7th round to win the vacant WBA World Welterweight title, and that took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey on this day in 1987. On this day in 1988, Greg Haugen wins a 15-round decision over Vinny Pazienza to regain the IBF World Lightweight title. That took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. On this day in 1928, Frankie Gennaro wins a 10-round decision over Frenchie Bellinger to win the NBA World Flyweight title. That took place in Toronto. And finally, on this day in 1967, Muhammad Ali wins a 15-round decision over Ernie Terrell to unify the World Heavyweight title, and that took place at the Houston Astrodome in Texas. And I actually have a poster of that right there in the studio here. What can I? Go ahead, speak.
Well, you want it? I don't know. Should I say? I don't know. I'm a little gun shy now. You give me the stage. I don't know. Because on this day of history, it just resonated, and I remembered. I fought the co-feature event to Greg Haugen beating Vinny Pazienza in Atlantic City Convention Center, and that was the night I lost a fight against Louis Lamelli, who was the other number 1 ranked contender in the world, and the winner supposedly going on to fight Pernell Whitaker. And that was my last fight. It was February 6, 1988 in the Atlantic City Convention Center as a co-feature with Greg Haugen and Vinny Pazienza. And that was it.
Sal,
and then I walked away for 25 years, 66 days.
I was just going to say, that wasn't your last fight.
No, it wasn't my last. That was my last fight before I made my comeback.
Hey, listen, boys and girls,
reality.
Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.